Hey everyone, this is Rose Gonzales with Cali or Bust. And today we're going to bust out of Cali and we're heading over to Houston, Texas. And we have my good friend Paige with us. Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. Super
So,
excited to be here.
oh, thank you for joining me. And I'm excited to hear all about Houston and what's going on. But before we get started in everything that we're going to talk about today, how was the weather with the snow and all that stuff? Did you guys get hit hard or what happened with
We
that?
were a little luckier than others in town, but everybody kind of compared this to like something kind of like Harvey. Like it demolished so much of Houston in so many ways. So we lost power. We were out for 3 days, and
Oh,
then we didn't have water for 3 or 4 days. And then even when we got water back on, we were on a boil notice. But luckily, we were quick enough to think to put some buckets out to collect some snow, so we were able to flush toilets and everything.
okay. Did you guys have like drinking water?
Yeah, we were smart enough to get before like the crazy rush and everything. Everybody started to realize what was going on. We had a few cases of water,
Okay.
but we only had like by the time the water came back on, we only had like a case left. So we were like, okay, but there's still like one apartment complex in Houston that still does not have water.
Oh my gosh.
And it's still been about like 2 weeks since everything's been back to normal.
Yeah. Oh man, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
Well, glad
bad.
everything's good and you guys are safe.
Yes.
All right. So tell us what's going on in the Houston market,
It is a crazy seller's market right now.
isn't
I
it?
mean, buyers, because we mostly work with first time home buyers. And we have one listing right now, and the things that I'm seeing pop up on offers and like even what we're having to write up is things I've never seen before in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, people like if they're a conventional loan, they're waiving the appraisal contingency.
Right.
There's no option periods. Definitely people are not doing home warranties anymore. Like the agents are paying for them
Yeah.
and way definitely under 30-day close. I mean, you're trying to do everything.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. What about like inspections? Are you guys having are the sellers providing inspections up front? I'm obviously hearing that we're not really asking sellers for anything anymore. So section
Mhm.
one's out the door, but at least are they providing reports up front or buyers are really just going into their blind side?
Yeah, sellers usually, I've never experienced giving out inspection reports or anything, but like if you don't have any option period, then buyers are just later on getting an inspection just for themselves to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But you have to like be in contact and have a few inspectors under your sleeves because availability is crazy right now. So
Yeah.
like we had a buyer, the sellers were gracious enough to give us 4 days. So we called them up and we were like, okay, we need you tomorrow because we have to have enough time to get the report back and possibly do negotiations and all that stuff. So we were able to get it done, but it's definitely tough.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I hear that. Yeah, so here, thankfully, in my area, sellers have been willing to do upfront inspections because, they know things are going to go fast. And, I myself like to do it because if it's going that fast and people are going through, quickly, we want to be as transparent with the buyer
Mm-hmm.
possible. So, what are the other things that you guys are seeing? Like, so you say you work a lot with first-time home buyers. How are you helping them even get their offers looked at? Because oftentimes first-time home buyers don't have a lot of money to put down, or if they do, that's great. But like, do they have the funds to pay over the appraisal if there's no contingencies or whatnot? Like, tell us how that's looking in your market.
Well, we have a few lenders that we personally work with. Like there's this one, his name is Richard Yepes with CMG Financial, and they have some crazy first-time home buyer programs like down payment assistance. So they'll cover all of the down payment, half of the closing costs, and then sometimes we're able, if the seller won't do repairs, to get seller's contribution. Like right now, we have a closing coming up, and the buyer is actually getting paid $800 to buy the house.
That's awesome. I
And
wish
they
we,
also have a GoFundMe program.
wow.
So they can put that out there. You can write a story about your situation, everything. And like your friends can donate $10, $20, and that can go towards your down payment or closing costs and all that stuff.
Okay.
And since it's through GoFundMe, they have like a paper trail and everything.
Is that something that they would like post on Facebook or somewhere and then people
Mm-hmm.
wow, that's a great idea. I haven't seen that one
Lenders
yet.
are getting crafty now.
Yeah, yeah. I actually had a lender tell me also that because we're having the same situation here in my area, and a lot of people are writing offers that says something like no appraisal contingencies, buyers willing to pay X dollar amount, let's say $5,000 over appraisal value. And then so lenders are also getting strategic where they're saying that the buyer can pay a little bit higher interest rate. So instead of like a 3%, they could do like a 3.5, and then they would get the lender credit for that. And then that would just reduce their funds to close. And I'm like, that's genius.
I know. I'm like, where has this stuff been?
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, they're doing kind of stuff similar to that. But yeah, people still have to have a little bit of cash extra saved up just in case. Because yeah, I mean, people, even though they're putting like 20,000 over the asking price, they're still losing out on homes. So
yeah.
it really has to be like your terms. Like if you don't know how to write a good contract, you don't even have a chance anymore.
Right, right. Yeah. So are you guys finding that appraisal contingency plays a big factor in being able to even have your offers looked at right now?
Well, I don't know if it's because I wrote such a good offer or something, but we even beat out other offers and we were a contingency.
Okay.
I told our buyer, I was like, okay, you're going to have to pay for a survey and all these other tiny little things, title policy and all that, just to give you a little bit of an edge.
Okay. So instead of like the sellers doing certain reports and paying for like the title and escrow or accounting transfer taxes, you guys are covering all that because then it'll be part of the closing costs.
Yeah, we try to do everything we possibly can on our end, especially if like we're a contingency or an FHA loan and all that stuff.
Okay. So then you guys are still able to do like appraisal contingency and loan contingency. And then, okay, well, that's a good trade-off. Awesome. All right. So what are some of the areas around Houston that, are the next upcoming? So Houston, downtown, what are the prices there? And then if you venture out in the suburbs, what are you looking at?
So the average price right now in Houston is around like 362,000. And if the like a main area right now is the Heights for like the younger generation like myself, like they like going out there because that's where all the nightlife and the action, entertainment, and all that stuff is. So you could get probably a nice like condo or townhome down there. But then like over where I'm at in Cypress, for around that price, you could get probably like around like a 3,000 square foot home, maybe like 5 bedroom, could have a game room or something and like a big yard if you wanted to go with like an older neighborhood. But most of the new builds now, you'll have like a smaller yard, or even if it's a patio home, you'll have almost no yard at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you definitely get more bang for your buck down here in Texas for that price.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what, you can't even get anything in California for 300. I'm like,
It's crazy.
Are you guys getting a lot of investors out there too?
Yeah, there's some investors still in the mix, but like I feel like this is the first time that they're actually having to compete with normal buyers. Because even like in the years past, and you pop in like, hey, I'm an investor, I'm paying cash, they'll swoop in and get the deal. Like sellers won't even have to think twice about it. But now, I mean, even with like our listing, we had a cash offer and another conventional loan was better. So we're like, okay, we're going with this one.
Yeah.
Because their terms were just slightly better.
Got it. Well, yeah, investors are usually looking for a deal versus like what market value is, and then you have these other people paying extra money. So, so Houston, Is that more like condos, townhouses? Do they have single family in Houston?
Yeah, there's some single family mixed in, but yeah, definitely when you get more downtown, everything's more compact and condos and townhomes and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And then how far is Cypress to Houston in case?
Maybe like 30 minutes depending on the traffic and what time of day.
Yeah.
But it's not that far.
Okay. Oh, speaking of traffic though, like how is traffic with all these people relocating to Texas? I don't know like exactly how many people are moving to Houston versus Austin and stuff like that.
We've seen throughout the years tons of people from either companies relocating or people relocating from other states come over here. Like we've had California, Louisiana, Oklahoma, all over.
Yeah.
But traffic's always crazy. Like if you have to be somewhere by 5, like you better leave like an extra hour ahead of time, because when rush hour traffic happens, you better have a full tank of gas, plenty of time. You don't need to be in a rush because you will be stuck in traffic. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what are the other upcoming cities surrounding Houston that people can look into?
Sugarland is always crazy booming, like that, in Richmond kind of area. And then we've had a few people going out to Crosby, which is kind of more of like a country-ish type of feel. And we have a buyer out there right now, and it's slightly less competitive, but I mean, it's still crazy. The Woodlands is always good. And Katy, surprisingly, when Hurricane Laura came and destroyed everything for Louisiana, all the people from Louisiana fled to Katy. We were like, why that place? Like, where did y'all find this? And all like decide like that was the place to go. But yeah, Katy's definitely booming, and like Brookshire and all that stuff right around there.
Okay, very cool. So do you were you able to pull up what houses would look like in comparison?
Yes. Let me share my screen.
So just to give you guys an idea, I asked Paige to show us what a home would look like in her price point, just so that, for those of you looking to relocate to Houston or the surrounding areas, you could kind of see what type of home you can get versus, where you currently are right now.
All right, let's see if I can get this.
Is it?
All right. Can you see it?
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Yes, we can see it.
So here is a little bit of what Bridgeland kind of looks like.
Wow. How much is that house?
That house would probably be maybe like 500. The prices in Bridgeland range from anywhere from like the high 200s to over $1 million.
Okay.
Yeah, but then they have all kinds of amenities. They have like a lazy river.
So is that like a community pool, or is that like an actual park?
It's kind of like a community pool. Like here is one of the $1 million plus homes that they have. So it's my dream neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
And then the Heights.
Now, how far is Bridgeland from Houston? Just in case anyone was wondering.
So Bridgeland is only like maybe like 5-10 minutes away from me.
Okay.
So, and it's right off of 290. So I don't know, it's still probably about like 30-40 minutes maybe from like downtown and Heights and everything.
Oh.
So
okay.
the Heights, you'll have more type condo, cute little places like this.
And what's the price points for those?
They're still, if you want something super, super nice, still probably around like 300 to 500 and up.
Okay.
So it just depends on what
you're looking for.
Yeah, if you want more of a yard and like family community type stuff. Or if you're young and like you don't care about that stuff and you just have a little dog, you want to go for walks and nightlife and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So are there any big companies moving out to Houston? Like, what have you been seeing as far as like companies relocating, or you guys have a tech hub coming up there or anything like that?
I know that HP is coming, and it's still been throughout the years like one of like the main like sources for jobs and stuff around here. So you have that, and then of course you have NASA, and you have, of course, oil and gas that's popping up everywhere.
Nice. Okay. And so tell us, what are the pros and cons of living in Houston?
So some of the pros, obviously, first of all, are medical resources.
Okay.
And we have like the MD Anderson Cancer Center and everything. Because I know people that have had cancer, and they'll literally travel from other states or cities or whatever to lease a home here just to be close to better doctors and medical and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Restaurants, obviously, and you have downtown aquarium. There's a Toyota Center, the Houston Rodeo.
Ew.
We're hoping that has been pushed to May. We're hoping it'll maybe actually happen this year. If not, hopefully next year. Because yeah, every Houstonian has been missing it like crazy.
Wait, so is the rodeo something new, or is it just they haven't done it because of the whole COVID?
Yeah. So last year, because it's normally around like beginning of March is when it starts. And I think it was open for maybe a week, if even that, and then it shut down.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because they, like, the day the rodeo ends, they already start planning for the next year.
Wow.
And it was really devastating because of the kids that have, like, the stock show animals and everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, they are preparing and working those animals and everything all year long, and then they were not able to show them and everything.
Yeah.
And so College Station, where I graduated from A&M in 2017, they held like a little show for all the kids. So if they wanted to still show their animals and like show all the work they put in, they were able to do that. But I know this year they were at least trying to do that for the kids.
Yeah. Because
that's the most important part of the rodeo. I mean, yeah, the food and the shows and all that stuff was fun, but definitely it's mainly about the kids.
Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
So is Texas pretty open? Like, I thought I saw someone, I don't know which part of Texas, tweeted that Texas is 100% open. I don't know if that was a myth.
Yeah, so yesterday afternoon, the governor said that next Wednesday on the 10th, that Texas is completely 100% open, and he dropped the mask mandate and everything. So that was definitely on every news station yesterday.
Oh, that's crazy. Who would have Yeah.
Yeah. But I know like some places, they're still requiring masks. I mean, they said like you can't be arrested or anything for it. But I think there's still going to be people that might push the envelope. And like some people are still nervous and scared about it. And some are like, oh, finally, like freedom and everything. So it's definitely like mixed reactions going on everywhere.
I'm sure. Because even just hearing it on media or social media, I'm sure everybody from, outside of Texas is having mixed emotions too.
Mm-hmm.
So are the restaurants like indoor dining, and then are schools in place?
So some schools have been like half open. Like you had the choice, you could do like some days at home and then some days at school, or you could be strictly online, or you could be strictly at school. But I think they might start, some I know that have been closed for a while, in the next week or so are going to be reopening. And then restaurants have for a while now been pretty much completely open inside and out.
Oh, nice.
And they've kind of maybe like spaced the table here or there. And they've definitely put up like plastic shields and everything for protection and some sort of social distancing. But it's going to be interesting next week to see how restaurants and everything change for the new restrictions and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys have any warning at all that this was coming, or just
well, I saw a rumor that he had done an interview and he was like, oh, like a big announcement's coming about the masks. And I was like, oh gosh, here we go. And then sure enough, a week later, he made the announcement.
That's crazy. Well, we'll see how it goes. It's definitely mixed emotion for people, but it's, nice to see what'll happen, because then, whichever route it goes. Sorry to have you guys be the
yeah.
But no, that's great. What about the cons? So tell us a little bit more. I mean, if you have more pros, great.
Pros definitely are the no state income tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always is amazing plus for people moving from out of state. But some cons would be definitely hurricane season.
Okay.
And flooding and everything.
Oh, you guys get flooding and
during Harvey, I think it was 60 feet of water was like downtown and in homes and everything. So yeah, I mean, you could not even see the whole neighborhood. Like it was just completely like in water.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, hurricane season is always scary.
Yeah.
And then like having a generator is like secondhand to like having water and all that stuff now for preparedness. And then definitely the Texas heat, because it's way more humid here because we're closer to Galveston and the beach and everything. So we have way more humidity. Like temperatures, though, like number wise can be up to like 109 or something, but then it'll feel like 120s, 130s. Like it is super hot.
Yeah. I actually went to Houston twice for a conference. I think it was like in the August time frame or something.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Though it was really dry. And I felt like as soon as I stepped out of the hotel, I just started sweating. I was like, what?
Yeah. I always like dread like getting ready and doing my hair and makeup and everything. Cause I'm like, I know the second I walk out of this door, it's ruined.
Yeah. It'll just bun up. So as far as like the hurricanes, you guys, I mean, obviously, is there any issues with like flood insurance? Because I know there's some areas here in California where we have problems with like fire insurance and flood insurance, and there are some areas like closer to the mountains where we have a really hard time trying to get people fire insurance.
Yeah, so we have different floodplains. So we have a 100-year floodplain, a 500-year floodplain, and then you're lucky if you're not in a floodplain. But if you are, then yeah, your insurance and then definitely flood insurance will be higher. And then if as soon as a hurricane enters the Gulf, like you can't get flood insurance. So you definitely have to make sure you get it ahead of time.
Okay. Are there specific suburb cities that are less likely to get flooding versus like, something closer to the water?
I mean, definitely the closer I feel like you get downtown, just because of like the elevation and everything, you have more of a risk, but there's patches everywhere. I mean, even by me. So it's kind of like second nature now. Yeah. For us, when we're looking for homes for clients, or they'll send us stuff, so like the first thing you look at is the flood map and a seller's disclosure. Because even if they're not in a floodplain or anything, they still could have flooded because it was just such a rare fluke. So yeah, that's definitely a thing you always have to check, because you could have a house on one street that is not in the floodplain, and then the one a street over is. Yeah. So you always just have to double check. It's spotty. It's everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. What about new construction? What are you guys seeing there? Is there still a lot of land to build on? Do they have wait lists? What's happening with new construction?
There's still tons of new construction going on. One community I showed you, Bridgeland, they're still building out different sections, and they still have tons of more land next to them for them to build out for the years to come. And then kind of in Hockley and Waller and Hempstead, going more that way, where there's more land. People are starting to build more communities and stuff. But buyers, like if they can't fight in the resale market, they're definitely looking towards new builds now. Because they're like, I don't have to fight for it. And if they're not in such a huge like time to like rush to sell their house, they're like, we'll wait and then just do that.
Yeah. I mean, right now, if you're selling a house, that's kind of like your one and most open option, because a lot of the sellers are not even looking at seller contingent or buyer to sell home contingency, right? Yeah, so that's kind of what we're dealing with. Are there wait lists for the new communities, or is it still pretty reasonable?
I think it's still pretty reasonable around here, but I know stuff is flying quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because over here we have, some of the suburbs, and what's happening here in my area is I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, so we have all the tech industry here. So we have them like in the Silicon Valley, San Francisco, and all that stuff. And now that they get to work remotely, they're taking their money and moving to the suburbs, and so that's pushing our prices up. So
yeah, everybody working from home has definitely changed everything.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants a pool now, so they don't have to go to anywhere, no community pools or anything. They have to have an office, maybe even a game room for the kids to play during the day. Yeah, it's changed everything.
Yeah, for sure. But our some of the suburb areas where we have new construction, they have wait lists longer than the amount of lots that they're expecting to release.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we also even have one builder out here who's doing like a multiple offer situation. So they'll release 5 lots and everybody just puts in an offer, and we're like, what?
Yeah, even like there's a complex down the road from me, and they just built like some cute townhomes for rent. And yeah, they're only releasing maybe like 5 to 8 at a time, and then they'll rent those, and then they'll do like another batch and stuff.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I think it would be mayhem.
Right. Do you guys still have like affordable housing programs? I know you mentioned earlier there's like down payment programs and stuff like that. Is that based in like different cities or?
So as long as you have like a 640 credit score and up, and you haven't bought a home in the past 3 years, you could qualify for the down payment assistance and all that stuff. But there are some Section 8 housing around town scattered. Some are downtown, and like some are even in Katy. They're like scattered everywhere. Yeah. But there's tons of like programs everywhere.
Okay, that's cool. So if someone's visiting or looking to move to Houston, what are some of your favorite places that you think people should check out?
So I'll share my screen because I have a couple places. So one of my favorite places, even as a kid, to go was the Butterfly Center.
Oh, wow.
You could go in, and I mean, as you see, people even get married there, and there's just butterflies everywhere. I mean, they're just flying around. So it was cool as a kid, kind of like this little guy right here, to just be like kind of like in a jungle type setting, and like there's butterflies landing on you and all kinds of stuff.
That's awesome. Do they have like a special entry and exit where they have to like, you have to get enclosed so that they can make sure there's no butterflies on you when you leave?
Yeah, I can't remember too much, but yeah, I think there was like a certain like entrance door you would go into to kind of like block off the actual dome area.
That's cool.
And then
where is that located? Is that in actual Houston, or is it what city?
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of like you're going downtown because it's right by the zoo, and there's a museum and all kinds of stuff over there. So there's even Memorial Park around here. So there's, as closer you get to downtown, there's tons more activities and stuff to do. And then obviously the Houston Zoo. You have to go to that.
Yeah. Do they have unique animals at the zoo that maybe you don't have at a general? I'm
not sure. I think they got a little bit of everything. But during Christmas time, they have the Zoo of Lights.
Oh, that's
So
crazy.
yeah, so at nighttime you can go and they have all the lights decorated around the zoo and even the animal enclosures and all that. So it's definitely a fun and neat way to see the zoo during the holidays.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then obviously if you're in Texas and you're on a road trip, you always have to go to Buc-ee's.
All right, so tell us, what is Buc-ee's?
Buc-ee's is the best gas station you'll ever visit in your life.
Is it like
It's
multiple locations throughout Texas?
Yes, and then there's even smaller locations. Like we have a smaller one out here. Definitely doesn't have as many pumps, but for gas and stuff, but still has kind of like this best restrooms. Definitely cleanest ones I've ever been in. But some like fancy drinks and sodas and all that stuff, and then little snacks.
Yeah.
But they're definitely known for their beaver nuggets, which is kind of like popcorn, like a kettle corn popcorn type thing. But yeah, you definitely have to go to Buc-ee's when you're in town.
Beaver nuggets is popcorn, but
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like a kettle corn.
Okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have any like favorite restaurants that you can recommend?
So obviously, since we're in Texas, barbecue.
That's what I was gonna say. I heard barbecue in Texas is always the best.
So there's one close to my house which I absolutely love called Carl's Barbecue in like the Cypress area. But there's Linden's Pit Barbecue, Killen's, Pinkerton's, and then when you're at the rodeo, there's Good Company Barbecue. And they have a location out here, location kind of around Memorial City kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are always go-tos. And then if you're ever wanting like good Mexican food, there's Escalante's, Ambrisa, Cyclone Anais. And then my favorite in the Bridgeland area is Local Table. And so they source like all of their ingredients and food and everything from like local farms and ranchers and all that stuff in the area. And it's all like kind of like fresh and healthy food and everything. It's my favorite. But Houston is definitely a foodie town.
Yeah.
Like you can never really go wrong anywhere you go.
That's nice. Yeah, no, I mean, every time we hear about Texas, and it's always like the barbecue and the big plates and just, that's my thing. I love to eat. So I'm like, ooh, what else do you have?
And the best barbecue places I love going to are when they just give you a thing of butcher paper. Because like you don't even have plates or anything. You just get butcher paper and you tell them what meat you want and they'll just pile it on there and then that's what you eat off of.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. It's like it makes the experience so much more fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because our barbecue here, it's like you get this dinky little tray, probably the size of like my notebook, and you're just like, and then after you leave, you're like, let's go somewhere else.
Exactly. You're like, that didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. Well, thank you for joining me. This was really fun. And, you shared a lot of great information on Houston. I'll make sure to put the links below on the recommendations for like, the places to visit in Houston and a couple of different neighborhoods and stuff. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys are thinking of moving to Houston, Texas, I got a girl for you. Oh, you're pointing that way. But yeah, just shoot me a message and I'll hook you up with Paige. Hopefully you guys found this super helpful and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.